It's the beginning of the show. It's the beginning of the show. Internet! We had to go old school. We had to go old school with the internet action. What's up, everybody? How is everybody doing out there in the world? Hopefully y'all are doing well. Hopefully things are going fine. Still moving microphones around. Because as you can see, there's a new background. There is a new background because welcome to the first show in the new office. In the new office space, the new studio is, it's complete. It is working. The things are doing what the things are supposed to be doing so far, and I am surrounded by boxes and wires and all sorts of stuff, but things are definitely coming together. The new studio, I am in the basement now, as opposed to in the old room. Those of you that kind of follow along on Facebook and whatnot, Vicky Toria posted a... a Facebook post? I guess you post a Facebook post on Facebook, right? I think that's how it goes. I think that's how Facebook posts go. You put them onto Face page, right? She posted the nursery, which my old office is now the nursery. That is all done. Happy to say we're in the new office down here. So the electrical is all done. The ceiling is all done. The paint is all done. Some of the shelving is done. The doors are done. I don't know. It's a super long list, but all the desks are down here. Everything is moved. All the computers are down here. All that stuff. And so far, so good. YouTube is telling me we're unsupported resolution for latency configuration. Oh, the expected video resolution. Oh, man. Sorry, YouTube. We're broadcasting in the wrong expected resolution. Well, take that. Too much information for you there, YouTubes. But, sorry, the alert popped up. And, sometimes I tell you guys about the alerts that pop up on the computer screen while I'm here trying to do what I got to do, which is a show mainly about fish, aquariums, shrimp, all that kind of stuff. Freshwater aquariums is pretty much the mainstay of what we talk about. But I talk about whatever, sometimes contextual, sometimes not. But I talk about my life a fair bit. Talk about things that are going on. I answer questions from the chat. We talk about Patreon. We talk about all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And that's how the show goes. So if you happen to be new, hola. It's a long format show. And there's a bit of a video segment that will play in the background. And I'll get real small. And then, yeah. So we'll talk about actual fish tank stuff that I did earlier today. Because... as I think I put in the title, the Monday Return Aquarium stream. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense with the title there. But in the description, I put down there back from the summer break how things have come along in the fish room. Because I took a week off for family. Those of you that don't know, this little peanut down there in the corner, that little baby girl right down there, I have to remember I'm doing this backwards. That is the Olivia, whom I call the peanut bear. I forgot I had this. Like I said, I have cords all around me, and I had to pick this up because I still don't have the new cameras set up in here the way I want them, and that's actually just a power adapter for one of the cameras. But we took the week off because I needed to take a week off. I needed a break. We needed a break from all the stuff, and it was time to spend time with my family. Vicky Toria had put in for the week of the 4th of July, and so we took the whole week off, and that's just how it had to go. It was time to do family stuff, and if you don't do it, if you don't take the vacation, you never end up taking the vacation. So it was just time to take a vacation, take a break. And I don't know that like recharge is the right word because we have an 8-month-old baby. So it's not exactly like 100% recharge or refresh or whatever. But, we just spent a lot of time with Olivia and working on stuff that we wanted to get done, traveling around, visiting family and all that kind of stuff. So nothing crazy and eventful, but definitely that good family time. And, one of the interesting things is that, being in America and being an American myself, like I had just mentioned a couple seconds ago, that if you don't take the vacation, you just end up not taking the vacation. You know what I'm saying? Like you just have to pick a time and just do the thing that you're going to do. And that's when we had it written down on the calendar, and that's how it had to work out because it really comes down to in the U.S., I don't know if you guys know this, but if you're in the U.S., it's just nonstop. There just is there's no end in sight. There's always just like, got to go to work, got to find more work to do. There's got to be more work. There's always work, and then there's more work. And, nowadays in 2019, it's 24/7. You get emails and messages from people and phone calls and all that kind of stuff. So sometimes you just got to take a break and just not do what you're doing. So the last week, I pretty much did not do anything online. I didn't do any editing. I didn't do any filming. I was going to film some of the projects that we were working on, and you know what? I just decided not to. Whether you call it burnout or not, or any of that kind of stuff, I just was like, you know what? I'm on vacation. I don't want to be constant filming everything, And it worked out. It worked out fairly well. I have been filming a lot of stuff running up to that, and obviously I'm on YouTube, so people are wondering like, hey, what's going on with YouTube and what's happening here? You got like a new studio. What's happening? Things are still going to just keep kind of going how they're going. I'm going to continue doing some of the small edited videos that I do, the plant spotlights, fish spotlights or projects and all that kind of stuff. None of that stuff's changing. Everything's just going to be here. But the edited stuff, I don't know how often I'm going to be able to be getting edited stuff, because one of the big things that I was thinking about while on vacation is that I definitely want to make some changes as far as what are the products that I'm putting out as far as YouTube goes. And so I'm probably going to be making some minor changes to the produced content that I'm putting out. And there will be some changes going on with this live stream show. We've got some plans in the works. You guys might be familiar with Bentley Pascal, because he's definitely been he's been on the show. He's definitely in the chat. You guys know that Alyssa comes on the show. She comes on every other Friday, basically, is what we're gonna try and keep up with. And we'll see how well that works out. And we're gonna be doing some live streaming to Patreon with Bentley. So we're going to be doing some live streaming onto Patreon. Basically, just a different kind of a little bit of a platform change. So the people on the weekend will be able to pop onto Patreon and see that live. And then we might be We might like what's the word? We might do some clips. We might end up doing some clips onto this channel. But I haven't been able to schedule in whether or not that can be edited or not. So that's always going to be, that's always a concern whether or not we could actually do it or not. But as far as I know, we're going to be trying to do some more live streams with Bentley also, or some more like long format podcast, whatever you want to call it. Some long format stuff, and probably be throwing up some Bentley clips. I noticed a lot of people in the chat are wondering if Candy is going to come on to the show live. If she's here, she could always come on to the show, that's for sure. Open invitation. Rumbust with a 1882 Swedish krone super chat. And we figured it out a while ago. I was always wondering what he was doing with the Swedish krones. That is exactly how many days I have been sober. And as a quick reminder to anybody out there, if you are having troubles with drugs and alcohol and all that kind of stuff, use me as an example. Hey, consider getting sober, going to therapy, and maybe AA's for you, maybe NA's for you, maybe Smart Recovery is for you. Maybe one of those programs out there can definitely get you some help, and hopefully at least give you a chance at a better life. That's something that you could be looking forward to out there. It helped for me, and that's my experience. So, it's worth a shot, right? Why not give it a try? I'm 1,882 days sober, which is a couple months over. It's like 5 years and a couple of months. 5 years plus a couple months. So you can actually go back and look at some of my old YouTube videos, which I did a while ago. And I'll tell you, man, this guy was a hot mess. So you could use me as an example, even though maybe I'm not somebody that you would aspire to be like, which is legitimate. I understand that if that's the case. But you could at least use me as a comparison to former me. How about that? And then you'd be able to be like, oh, maybe I want to take myself and improve myself as much as I can, and maybe just use me as the evidence. But my life is so much better since I gotten sober, and that's just the truth. It's easy to say because it's just the truth. Let's see here. Who's in the chat? Oh, let's not forget about the Fish Tank Barn with a $5 super chat towards the Makerspace Fund. And that is one of the big things that myself right here, this dude, is keeping a lot of my energy, especially my mental energy and stuff like that. I am almost always on the realty sites and all that kind of stuff, keeping track, trying to find what we have dubbed the Makerspace, which, the idea of the Makerspace is, essentially a community type spot where we'd be able to set up a lot of fish tanks, work on projects, work on videos, and do all that kind of stuff that would be open to the public. It wouldn't be a store, so we wouldn't be selling stuff or anything like that, but hopefully with the crowdfunding and all that kind of stuff. And if you feel like that's something that you want to chip in on, you could pop over to the Patreon, and we lost a bunch of patronizers, but that's how it goes. Sometimes we hit the end of the month and we lose a bunch of patronizers. So we are down. We were getting close to 300, and then now we're down to 280. But thank you very much to all the 280 people on Patreon. Hopefully helping out, or hopefully you guys are happy with the things going on there. Today I actually posted some of the new art that will be coming here. I commissioned from a really good friend of mine, whom I've known for, well, that's way too many years to say out loud. It'll start to bring some shame to my old age. I've known her for over 20, probably 25 years, something like that. And we commissioned to do some art. There's actual physical art that will be in here. Those of you that just watch on YouTube, you'll be able to check it out on Friday, I think. Should be here on Friday. I'm going to have to go up and pick it up. But those of you that are on Patreon, I did a post up on there so you guys could actually go check it out. And if you want to order this, actually, there are prints for these. So if you actually go to her Etsy store, check them out, you can actually order prints of these. So obviously you're not going to get the original, but you can get really big ones, and they're like, I think they're like 16 inches by 16 inches, which doesn't seem that big, but I think once you actually hold it in your hand, that's pretty big. And that's on some kind of fancy, it's like on some fanciness. And I'm like opening up, you see the flashing around in the background. That's me actually opening up the Etsy store. Oops. But the small ones are $30. They're like 8 by 10. The bigger ones are 16 inch by 16 inch, and they're on some kind of fancy McSchmancy stuff that I have no idea what it is, but it's like fancy stuff. And or you can you can actually get the workout tights. You get the workout tights pants, which is cool because that is one of the things that if you go on there, you will see that her name is Jody, and Jody is way into like those crazy like workout runs in the mud, like the mud runs and the Spartan races and all that kind of stuff. So one of the big things that she does is design those stretch pants for like yoga pants, which I imagine there's probably at least 30 dudes watching the show right now that would be into rocking some crazy yoga pants, right? Who was it? Somebody asked if I was in a new room. Yes, this is the new studio. I probably should. L Flower 1 Stars is wondering, is this a different room? Yes, this is the new studio. Obviously, the fanciness and everything in the background will continue to change over time, and the camera perspectives and things. As I do have to get some things hung from the ceiling and still move around some networking and a couple other things, but I'm happy to say that the what was I looking for here? I'm happy to say that the oh, I can actually hear the baby crying. Well, hopefully everything's okay. But I still have to do hang some cameras from the ceiling and all that kind of stuff, and will definitely be some changes in the background and whatnot. Wow, that baby is crying really loud. I'm gonna have to see what's going on. Is she okay? I don't know. I mean, Vicky is up there. You know, Vicky's up there with her, so it's not like I'm a more qualified person. Let me text her real quick. I'm going to text her from the basement. Yeah. This is the entertaining part of the show where I was just like, what is going on? I don't know. I'm unsure. But it could have been that she just fell down because somebody was asking a little while ago, like, if Olivia has started to crawl. And let's see, tomorrow she'll be 8 months and she's walking already, pretty much. Like, she's like straight up on the thing, like grab the thing and start running on foot. So I don't know. You know, I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys that Vicky and I gave birth to a super active, crazy baby in a good way. It's all good, but she is just like, go, 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 go. You know, so she's, yeah, she definitely crawls. She didn't want to crawl, but it's just sort of out of necessity. She crawls over to things so she can stand up and start walking. So it's pretty wild. She's a wild little child, you know. So my guess is she was probably walking and fell, and hopefully she just bonked herself and is okay and nothing seriously damaged. Otherwise, we'll be you know, it's one of those things that like people would be like, don't end the show. But like, if something happens to Olivia, like I'm straight up turning off the show, you know. But Lumpy Dogs in the house, hit the thumbs up. Did you? Yeah, that's right, guys. You actually have to manually hit the thumbs up and let the internet know that you actually like the thing. That you actually like this show and stuff. Otherwise, YouTube is like, man, I don't know. Let's see. Derek Reynolds got a new 40 breeder today at the $1 per gallon sale. Do you think supporting only the sides like the co-op racks will work, or do all edges need to be supported? The 40 breeder, just supporting them on the sides is generally fine. I don't want to end up getting in the doghouse here if like you do that and it breaks. But generally speaking, I've never had, especially a 40 breeder. Like, if you were talking about, like, those 10 gallons, I'd be like, nah, I don't think so. But a 40 breeder is pretty robust, generally speaking, because they actually do have to build it out of the bigger glass. The bracing is a little more robust on it, and it typically is better silicone for whatever reason. I'm sure there is a reason, but I'm not privy to the reason as to why the 40 breeders are better silicone. But yeah, I wouldn't have any problems worrying about that. So, you could definitely support it just by the sides, especially like if you've been to the aquarium co-op, like how the bracing is built there, should be totally fine. Just one of those things. One of those things that's the issue, I would say, is that people see that bracing. Don't try to do that with an acrylic tank. Acrylic needs 100% bracing along the bottom. Rumpus says, son started walking at 8 months, lots of falls. He's 12 now and mostly okay. Mostly okay, some of the time. I like it. That's pretty good. But the 186th element. Oh, right on. What's up? Says, wait until she talks back for the first time. She already talks back. Yeah. So it's not the greatest thing. She's definitely not making sentences yet or anything like that, but she's a pretty fun baby. Warren Williams says, I was bit by my shouted eye puffer today while cleaning the tank out. That's weird. They're not normally that territorial, but luckily they are pretty small. It's not like a Fahaka puffer or anything bit you, so because that's hardcore. Are Wonder Shells safe with Cory cats? To my knowledge, yeah. Lexi wonders, so the other day I forgot about the biology I forgot all the biology I've ever learned and freaked out when I saw a shrimp shell floating around. I'd forgotten that crustaceans molt. I think everybody that keeps shrimp has done that, especially in my bamboo shrimp tank that I take care of for Vicky. Those bamboo shrimps, like when they molt, it is like the other day one of them molted like with the molt is still clung to a piece of driftwood, and that freaked me out because I was like, what? And I think it just, the two lead claws where it was holding when it went to molt and like went out, I think there's like just enough like pinched into that it didn't fall out. And I was like, what is going on over here? And but the bamboo shrimps get me almost every time when they molt. I'm like, oh no, one of them died. And nope, it's just the shell. They molt when they grow. Thoughts on keeping a few shrimp in a 3-gallon with my beta. Got an upgrade now. I just have an empty tank. In a 3-gallon, my beta got an upgrade. Now I have just an empty tank. Mako, I would 3 gallons is just kind of too small, honestly. We did a 2.5 gallon. When did we do that? It was a long time ago, probably 11 years ago or something like that. And that tank went really well for a long time. And then people got busy. And just that little bit of evaporation where, it's like this close to the top and then it like went down an inch was enough to kill the whole entire colony of shrimp. Because, the problem is, like, let's say the ammonia goes up a little bit, like you have an ammonia spike or something going on with such a small tank, and let's say it kills a couple of the shrimp that are not that healthy or whatever. Like maybe they're just super sensitive shrimp, they end up dying. Now, those dead shrimp start to spoil the water even more. So the next shrimp that were less susceptible to the bad water conditions, now the water conditions are worse because you got dead shrimp in there. And then it just starts this snowball effect that gets completely out of hand. So, I don't recommend anything than smaller than that, like foot by foot by foot size cube, which I believe is like 8 gallons, unless that's changed, which I really doubt it's changed. I was only on vacation for a week. I think it's 7.9 gallons, but you know what I mean. That's about the smallest tank I recommend to people, and I feel like if you're gonna do a small tank, do like one of those cube tanks, those little tiny cube tanks, or maybe $1 per gallon sale. Go just grab a 10 gallon and go with like a 10 gallon. It'll give you a lot more leeway with maintaining a shrimp colony. That is for sure. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal because like a 2.5, 3 gallon tank looks like, oh yeah, shrimp could totally go in there, which they could. But like I said, like the downside is if something goes wrong, it goes wrong like super fast because, that snowball effect gets out of hand. Alexander Romer is starting a new 20-gallon tall today with corkscrew valve and crypt lucens. Steps to avoid excessive algae growth as the tank becomes established, minus normal diatom algae growth. 10% water changes. Turn the lights down. Don't overfeed. Don't over-fertilize. I mean, let the plants grow. That's all pretty standard advice. But one of the things I do when I set up a tank is I do like a little tiny water change every day. You know what I mean? So, try to do that, especially with setting up and establishing a new tank. It's doing some water changes and stuff isn't that big of a deal, but you also don't necessarily have to do that, so I wouldn't be too stressed out. But keep the light photo period short. I would probably just have it at like 4 hours or something like that. Nowadays I probably only do 7 hours tops anyhow with just intense light, and that does plenty for growing my plants anyhow. Let's see. What's Alyssa talking about? People, I heard there are sharks in the Red Sea that have been getting hand-fed by divers and now attack divers that didn't know the deal. Yeah, probably. That sounds about right. Sharks bite people. That's kind of one of their things. You know what I mean? Looking for a 20 long. What's better, a 20 tall or a 20 long for guppies? Just started with them. No fry yet. 20 long. It's more aesthetically pleasing to me. So when I look at it, I'm like, oh yeah, I like that. And I really don't think there's any advantage to more real estate up and down with that fish, with guppies, but more space for them to kind of spread out and have a little more of their own zone. That's always good because guppies are just constantly mating and breeding and mating and breeding, right? So it's always a good deal to have a little more real estate for them. Go long. Jim Smith says, Joel, the Internet Fish Police say that 40-gallon breeders are the minimum for a beta now. Well, that's not true. And the Internet Fish Police are irresponsible. I was going to say that they're dumb, but I don't think that they're dumb. I think that they're just irresponsible, ill-tempered, and have bad intentions. Probably those three things is what I would say. I don't think that they're dumb. I just think that they're misguided and they don't have a good hobby to work on. Maybe they should go get some beta tanks and actually set them up themselves. That would be cool. Although I did see somebody got moderated the other day in a way that I really appreciated. I don't remember what group I was in, but I saw a moderator pop up that was like, the person that posted this didn't ask for advice. Comments are turned off on this thread. I was like, oh, that was dope. Cracked me up. But yeah, sometimes you got to shut down the fish police, You got to remember. You got to remember that, I don't have any degrees and stuff, like, I have a lot of like college credits and stuff like that, but I don't have any degrees. A lot of the stuff that I've done over the years is straight up experience and access to other people's research and then verification whether or not that research was accurate the hard way, which is, hey, let me read all this stuff and then figure out if I implement it, if I end up getting some of the same results, right? And then being able to kind of verify like if this person's advice is good or not, right? Or is good the right word? Yeah, I guess it's good or not. So it's also one of those things that like, people ask me why I'm like, I'll tell people to go read the Barr Report, which is Tom Barr's, it's sort of a, what do you call it? It's like a forum style web. It's a web page that has articles on it. And it's like a sort of an online magazine, but the forum is the really important thing that I think is still on there. And there's a lot of chat and stuff like that on the forum with people posting and replying to posts and stuff like that. There's a lot of information there. And, many, many years ago when I would ask Tom about something on there or elsewhere, he would always come back with something to at least try out or, I did this once, or, that guy has a bunch of degrees. So sometimes he would go like, oh, hey, you're too high in this, you're too low in that. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, cool. Let me check this out and let me see what's going on. And, with certain people in the fish hobby, I've had some personal contact with and stuff and asked questions and, verified whether or not they were accurate, or I've read their books and, done a lot of experiments on my own, which, by the way, is not scientific. I don't have a lab. I don't have, I don't have a bunch of other stuff to test against. I don't necessarily have a control or any of that kind of stuff going on. So it's definitely not, in my own experience, the things that I work on is definitely not part of the the scientific side of the hobby because A, I don't have the funding to do it, and B, I don't have the space yet. I feel like the makerspace might be an opportunity to actually do some control style tests, where we could actually set up, like let's say we set up 2 4-tank systems that are running on a sump that we could actually test different lights, different filtration, different, fertilizers, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Against each other, all while being able to have, a lot of the same water parameters, right? So let's say that there was like 4 substrates that we wanted to test. I used to have to do it the hard way, which was I would buy one substrate and I would use the same filter and light and I would rescape the tank, right? And then see how it goes, and then see how it goes and then come back to it and then be like, oh, yeah, well, that didn't work out that great, but let me try this. And then, a month and a half would go by, and let me try this one and that one and this one and that one. And, just, doing it and then seeing if it worked out very well. Also with like breaking stuff down, it's pretty easy to test and see what's going on with certain things. So hopefully the makerspace will be able to implore some of that at some point in time. I just haven't been able to find a makerspace space that I didn't feel like people were going to get robbed or murdered in the parking lot that we could afford. So I found a place that we could afford, But it really felt like there was a lot of nefarious things going on in the parking lot that just not going to work out well long term, right? You know, it's like you could run in front of the train a bunch of times, right? And then eventually the train will run you over. So that's, kind of the deal. 99 Iron Duke. That's a wild handle. That's a wild handle to have on the old YouTube there. Any idea how long does mangrove root take to get waterlogged? I cannot find any info online. Have a piece underwater for 6 days and no sign of it not floating yet. Mangrove root. I'm trying to remember. The thing is, like, you might have to weigh down mangrove root. You might have to weigh that down. But it would probably take a really long time, and to actually waterlog it. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that boil them and stuff like that, but I don't go that route. It just doesn't. It doesn't work out that well for me, and I've definitely found a lot more algae issues and stuff like that with having boiled driftwood versus just letting it soak and not going totally crazy. But I always weigh things down. I have an old video where I actually make some driftwood displays and stuff like that, like use a piece of acrylic in that route, like I would do that. Brandon Wagner's wondering if Patreon has been looked at yet. I'll be doing the Patreon posts on Friday. Like I normally do Patreon posts on Friday. I was thinking I was probably going to do it today because I didn't want to be neglecting the Patreon people, but I don't know. We're about 45 minutes in. I mean, we do have time. Maybe we do have time. I wonder if I have the scene made or not. Let me see. Let me see if I can actually do that. Brandon's a patronizer, and he's wondering if we could do the Patreon. We might be able to do the Patreon. I normally do them on Friday, and we'll probably have a bunch of posts on Friday anyhow. Ooh, we got lots of posts on here. Oh my gosh, we have so many posts on the Patreon, you guys. Oh my gosh. It's actually a good point. I think we might lose our mind. I think Alyssa and I, if Alyssa's coming in on Friday, we might end up losing our minds if we try to get to all these. If we try to get to all these on Friday, I think we might be having a problem. So, yeah, why don't we pop over to Patreon here for a minute and answer some of these and get caught up. Let me load some more. Whoa, there actually is a lot. Okay, that was our last one, which was the Fish Tank Barn and Chris Lucup, which I did try to put a poster back here from Chris Lucup, but the frame that we have it in was too shiny. So I'd have to move all these, like, lights and stuff. And that's not normally the best thing to do. Let me see if I can make this work. I gotta move the chat a little bit. My chat's too wide. I gotta make it skinnier. There we go. Zoinks. Ho-ho. This might work. All right. Yeah. Let's see what we got here. Scene 1, I think. We have no signal. We have no bat signal. Oh, that's right. I have this set up because Alyssa was on last time. Let me make me bigger. Then we'll click on that. We turn that off. Then move me over. Ooh, yes! It really helps when I have like the presets built already to actually do this during the show. Not that bad. Wasn't that bad. I think it worked out. All right. Well, as you guys know, and as I saw a lot of people comment down there in the chat, we would typically do the Patreon posts on Friday. You guys will see me over here. You can actually see my mouse floating around. You guys will see me hit the little heart button down here, which happens to be green because I changed it to green. You guys will see me pop that little heart button there. That gives people a shout out to know when I was actually answering their Patreon post. So this one is actually from Cheshire Cat, which we were actually talking about, the pine cone fish. So rest in peace from the pine cone, as my grandma called him or her. I couldn't get, I can never say this right, Kanamycin. I think I got that right. It's close. I don't know. None locally, had to order, and salts and water changes aren't working. The poor thing had a short life of about only 4 months. She'd been alive, swimming, and eating the whole time. About a week and a half from first bloat. 4 days since pine coning. But the other night wasn't as active feeding. Yesterday afternoon, found him or her floating. I thought the dropsy would cause bloating in a different way. With this one case, at least, it was the whole body blown outward. Now I know what to look for in the future. Oh, hold on. Somebody's messaging me. Oh, it's not Vicky. They must be okay up there because she didn't even message me back. I don't know. Oh, we have a new Patreonizer. We have a new Patreon. Alexander. Nice. Thank you, Alexander. We appreciate it here. You know, it's all going towards that old makerspace and running the show and keeping the lights on and all that kind of stuff. So much appreciate it. People were asking if I was going to go to any conventions this year. I honestly don't have any plans on going on any conventions. Can't afford to go to Peru with Corey. It's just going to cost too much money. You know, the going to the conventions costs a lot of money, as you guys know. I'm always super impressed when people are able to you know, have all the savings and stuff to be able to go. And you know, honestly, for me, you know, it's like when I went to Aquatic Experience last year, it cost like $2,300, $2,300, you know, with like everything added up, which is like staying in a hotel, flying out, you know, cab to the airport and back, blah, 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 food, blah, you know, all that kind of stuff. And it ended up being like $2,300. And honestly, like $2,300 is a lot of money as far as like production goes, like of this show. You know, $2,300, I could have bought 2 more 120-gallon custom acrylic tanks that probably would have lasted the rest of my life. You know, so it's stuff like that where, you know, I could build a lot of stuff with $2,300. You know what I mean? So that's just where my head's at, and I love meeting everybody at the I love getting a chance to meet people at the convention and stuff. But in all honesty, like, I'm not that popular, right? Like, I'm just not. So I you know, I almost feel like meeting 30 people that are like actually interested in meeting me, you know, and it costing that much, it's just a lot. I would love to go, and if a company wanted to cover all the costs and stuff like that, I would probably figure out how to work it out. But, you know, all the missed time at work and all that kind of stuff, it really adds up. It costs a lot. Daryl Deemer says it was expensive for him. Yes, I would imagine that it was expensive for Daryl because, see, I'm coming from the West Coast, but you're coming all the way up from Florida, so it's probably like just as expensive to fly and all that kind of stuff. And even splitting the hotel room, like New Jersey hotel rooms are like super expensive. You know, Alexander's asking any plans to attend the Aquatic Experience this year. You know, between like Aquashella, Aquatic Experience, all that kind of stuff, like, honestly, it just costs a lot of money. It really does. And I don't know any way to justify it. It doesn't seem like, you know, any of the conventions actually want to sponsor people to make it out to the events. So that doesn't seem like a thing, you know? Like I said, I really enjoy going to them, but you know, if we're talking about like, you know, $2,300 to $2,500, like I said, that is a lot of production for YouTube for like making new videos, time to film, all that kind of stuff. Like that goes like a really long way to making stuff for everybody. That's ultimately like my point. And that's ultimately my point with the makerspace, like being able to do live streams with people that come into town, whether it be other YouTubers or other fish people, any fish experts or any of that kind of stuff, but also to be able to do, demonstrations and things like that, and also film them and put them up onto YouTube for everybody to be able to check it out and see what's going on. Like, I've noticed that's one of the big gaping things at the conventions when you go out to these conventions is like there's not really any like demonstrations or speaking stuff or anything like that actually gets to hit the internet. So that's kind of one of my thought processes behind the makerspace, is being able to like, oh, we can actually just broadcast all this stuff out to everybody. And not to mention the thing that, like, if people came into town, like maybe you came to Seattle to visit some family, or maybe you came out because somebody was getting married, or maybe you found like a $50 plane ticket or something like that, and you're like, oh, we're just going out there. We're just going to be there. Oh, we can actually go by and check out that place and, come down and, maybe we could come down and escape some tanks or do whatever or any of that kind of stuff. So, it's just one of those things. But, yeah, that's why I just don't have any plans to go. And it just seems like there's not really any sponsorship opportunities. And, admittedly, I spent a lot of time, flying around and shaking hands and going to places and stuff last year to try and get some sponsorship. Now, the Aquarium Co-op is a sponsor of the show. They're our affiliate sponsor. If you guys want to go there, Candy just posted the link there. If you want to go buy stuff, it doesn't change the price or anything like that. But they're an affiliate sponsor, so you guys have to go through the link. You have to go buy stuff, and then we basically get a kickback for having sent customers, right? But I spent a lot of time last year to try and get some companies to sponsor some of the projects, sponsor some of the things that we're working on, so that I could try and do more long format stuff that actually is, it's stuff that takes more than 2 days to film, right? And, that's the reality of like YouTube. If you spent 2 or 3 days filming a YouTube video, it really, that's a lot more than most people put time in. And, if you could spend a couple of months actually working on a project, which is kind of what I thought might work out with that, with some sponsorship, is being able to like, okay, let me go work on this. I want to work on this project. I want to work on something that's longer, like a series, and go that route and be able to do it. But none of the companies really seem to do that, and none of the people really putting those events together really seem interested in like flying people out, unless you have, like some kind of imaginary number in their head. Like a lot of, it's kind of funny, like a lot of companies that I've actually talked to in person, I was like, okay, well, what's the, it's like, what's the number that you have? And then they go, well, I don't know. And you're like, okay. Or one of the better responses that I've heard is like, I've talked to companies and I was like, okay, well, what's your minimum number? And they'd be like, well, like 1 million. Like if you have like 1 million, then we want to do it. Well, there's basically like 2 or 3 million channels that have anything to do with fish. Most of them are fishing, right? It's like bass fishing or whatever. And, the reality is that then I would ask them, well, hey, would you want Corey to work on a thing? And they'd be like, oh, yeah, for sure. We would love Aquarium Co-op to come along. And it's like, well, he only has 300,000 subscribers, or I think it was 200 at the time or something. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, I guess maybe I don't know. You know, it's like, you know what? Like, it's cool, man. I'm just going to keep working on the projects that I'm going to work on. And that's just reality, you know, like, I'm like, all right, you know. Anyhow, back to the Patreon post. From Cheshire Cat says, my grandma actually thought the fish looked cute like this. I kind of agree, but it's hard to think that like that, knowing what's possibly going on internally. Plus, I get creeped out seeing the scales like that. Yeah, 100%. I get creeped out. I get creeped out right now seeing pictures of a fish with dropsy with the scales popped out like that. Always creeps me out. You know, it's one of those things that, like, dropsy isn't necessarily a direct indicator of, like, it's not necessarily its own disease. It's almost always an indication of a massive disease or an internal organ failure going on with a fish. So it's like, well, my fish has dropsy. It's like, okay, well, what's actually going on with it? Well, it has dropsy. It's like, well, that just means that something is really bad going on with that fish. So, you know, it does get a little bit confusing at times, but that's the reality. Like, dropsy is like emergency time. You know, get them into an isolated tank, get some salt, because the dropsy is actually, you know, typically, you know, excess fluids within the fish, you know, so you have like a fluid buildup on the inside, and that's what pine cones the scales out like that. So you could be like, oh, well, they have kidney failure. And like, well, I don't know, I guess, right? But you just know that something really bad is going on, and the salt will actually help the fluid, the excess fluid, get exsanguinated from the body. So it actually kind of like take that swelling back down. You know, that massive inflation and fluid that they have going on the inside, that's probably what's going to end up killing them. So yeah, that's what the salt bath is for. It's not like a salt bath, but you're going to put them in, you know, some nice tank water, add some salt to it to help them, you know, get that excess fluid out of their body, right? Get their scales back down, and then hopefully, you know, with, you know, proper feeding and kind of like a treatment and stuff like that, you can probably get them to recover. But a lot of times when you visually see what's going on, like dropsy like that, chances are not good. So don't beat yourself up if your fish gets dropsy and you do what you can. It's just probably not going to work out when you hit that point. And there's really not a lot of indicators leading up to it, you know. It's not like a person where they're like, I feel really tired and sick and I have a fever. You know, the fish is just kind of like, yeah, I'm down here. What's up, buddy? You know, and then you don't realize what's going on. Oddball Aquatics, Haley herself actually posted in this picture on June 28th, which does feel like a long time ago, but we got the red tiger lotus flower, which is dope. That's awesome that you actually got it to the top. It didn't rot and it didn't fungus, and it looks like money. I appreciate getting an opportunity. I like that it's nicely in focus and it's nicely framed too. That's legit. I like that. I would have cropped it over here because I can see this reflection of the light right here. I would have cropped it like right here. But that's just me. You're the artist. It's your art. I'm not criticizing it. I'm just letting you know what I would have done. Lexi V sends this in. It's a baby. And oh, it's a shrimp. It's a baby shrimp. I was about to say it looks like a painter's palette, but no, it's a shrimp. 100%. You got that baby shrimp. Man, this is like very grainy, zoomed in. All right. You got to get a macro. You got to get a macro lens at some point. You're going to take some pictures of shrimps. You got to get a macro lens and a little bit of light. That's going to be a big time help. But appreciate that. I love it when people's shrimp are going wild and doing their thing. Justin E sends this in. He says he killed his first USB air pump. It does not like a restrictor valve. That is accurate. That is accurate. You do not want to restrict these little USB pickle air pumps. A little pickle pump. Ooh. Check this out. Justin actually got another note. Got me some goodies from the co-op. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the co-op is our affiliate sponsor. So, I appreciate people shopping there, even if you forget to use our affiliate link, right? Yeah. Legit, seriously. You know, that's just how it goes. But we got Zis Bubble Filter, which I am working on a video for this bubble filter, and I have to say, during the live stream right here, I wonder how much the Zis filters are now. I think they're $19.99, right? Is that right? Let's see. I have to click on this, then go like this. Oh, well, that's not helpful. That's supposed to be back there. Okay, there we go. Hold on. This will work. Let me see. Aquarium Cube. Oh, like I kind of forgot that there's no keyboard down here now because I got the new. I'm in the new room. I'm in the new studio, right? So we need that Zis. Let's see what we got. Oh, they're $24.99. Oh, I thought they had gone down to $19, but they're $24.99. I remember they were $29.99. And then Corey brought the price down. So, but I thought for whatever reason I was wrong. It turns out. Wait, where'd the window go? Oh, here it is. Okay, there we go. Turns out I was wrong. I thought they'd gotten down to 19, but maybe that was like a sale or something like that. But at $24.99, like, I think they're definitely a good purchase. I feel like $30 was like a little bit too much in my mind. But 25 feels about right because it's like low enough that there really isn't any savings. You know what I mean? Like if you want to make your own, because you'd have to buy the K1 filter, media, you'd have to buy the container, the sponge. Or like you'd have to buy the housing somehow, or you know, like a 2 liter bottle or whatever you're gonna do. You'd have to buy that. You'd also have to buy airline and probably an air pump and blah 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 and all that kind of stuff. So I really feel like at like $25, there isn't any. Oh, I'm gonna do it myself and save some money. You know, like it would just be you wanting to do like some kind of craft. And I don't even feel like that's like that crafty of a thing. Like make a painting. You know what I mean? Like I feel like making a painting is a lot more fun craft wise and like personal fulfillment wise than, you know, trying to make a Zis filter, which you could just order and it basically like plug it in and suction. It comes with suction cups. So you literally just get the suction cups, put them on there, which reminds me, I really should finish that video because I really think that it's useful and quite a good little filter. And I'm using one of them on my bamboo shrimp tank, which is, I mean, I get it. Altogether, it's like a 160-gallon setup or something like that, but it fit right into my sump as a supplemental, additional bit of filtration. But here's the cool thing. You guys know that on my older tank setups, I used to do a Deerso overflow style, which adds air in. So it actually does the oxygenating that way, right? Now, that's totally fine, but the big problem there is that it makes noise. It does exactly everything that I want it to do. It works perfectly. It helps the beneficial bacteria that I want to grow by, you know, adding in enough oxygen to consider it an oxygen-rich environment, right? And it works. It works fantastically. So, but the only problem with that is it's loud, right? It just makes a bunch of noise. So whenever I'm in there and I want to do some filming and talk directly to the camera, I either have to like turn it off, which is a big pain to turn it off, and then remember to turn everything back on, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff, right? But I will say this, the Zis is like silent down in my sump. I think if you had it up in your main tank, you'd probably be hearing the bloop, 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 right? But I've got it down in my sump, and it actually was a little bit beneficial for me to actually be running it that way. It seems to be doing a little bit better job of oxygenating and, you know, also growing the bacteria that I really want. You know what I mean? Like the bacteria I want going in there that is actually doing a really good job helping keep the water clean in case sometimes I get busy and things like that. It helps to break down the ammonia and turn it into stuff that's much more usable for plants and much easier to survive in. There we go. For all my fish and shrimps and stuff like that. So it's working out quite well, and I'm pretty happy with it overall. Sunwise sends this in. The black pearl killifish living his best life. That is legit. This is one of the few fish. It's not one of the few fish I've never owned. There's hundreds of thousands of types of fish out there. So there's a lot that I haven't kept. But this is one of the few killies that are in the hobby that I just have never kept. I've never kept these. And every time I see them, I almost, like if I ever see them for sale, I almost always have some other killie that's taken up the space that they could take. So maybe one of these days I might just have to sell off some fish and order me some. Maybe. I don't know if I'm in that game of like ordering fish anymore. You guys know if I see a plant for sale that I don't have and it's a reasonable price, I normally just order it. You know, I try to get them locally as much as possible, but sometimes people post stuff like on Facebook or whatever, and I'm just like, yeah, here's money via PayPal. Send me plants, right? And it works out. I think it works out pretty well, typically. But I don't know if I'm going to be doing that, the fish ordering ever again. I don't think I'm going to be doing that. But Sunwise sent this in, the El Silverado Elders. These are those black bar elders. I love these guys. I had black bar endlers for many of the weird variations of them. Years and years and years. Love endlers, and someday I'll probably do endlers again. But who knows? We don't know the future, you guys. I don't know the future. You don't know the future. If you do, just go ahead and throw me the I don't know, what is it, like Powerball or whatever that lottery thing is? Is that a thing? Yeah, it's probably a thing. Who doesn't love endlers, to be honest? That's right, MD. MD Fish Tanks. You're right on the money there. Legit. Candy Overalls posted in the chat, plants from the Aquarium Co-op. That's right. Go get plants from the Aquarium Co-op. That's the legit way to do it. It's a good point. They don't carry all of the plants, though. They carry really high-quality plants for beginner and intermediate, and some advanced plants, I think, now. I'd have to go look at the list and figure out exactly what's there. I haven't been to the plant warehouse in quite a while. Should probably run by there and see what's going on. I think Justin's been holding it down, though, so hasn't been a big deal. I've been doing other stuff. So I've been busy on karate and yoga pants and all that kind of stuff. Yoga pants are important, right? I think yoga pants are important for the world. Yoga pants. Ah. Right? I think that's how that goes. Ricky Tan, a.k.a. Ricardo Santiago, sends this in. Says, so I went to my local pet store and just to look. Right. We believe you. And they had some plant that I was interested in. However, when I had asked what type of crypts they were, they couldn't tell me. Anyone have any idea? I feel like it's Wendetii, but not sure what type. I can tell you right now, that is Wendetii, like 100%. I am 100% confident that is Wendetii. Cryptocorini Wendetii. From the picture, barring any kind of like weird grow out period, that looks like Wendetii to me, and looks very typical in the stem and leaf pattern. The veins and crinkle and everything in the shape of the leaf looks exactly like Wendetii. So it should be. Keep us posted. If it does something super crazy, keep us posted. If it starts growing all weird and turns out to be some kind of other plant, then, which I seriously doubt, but it looks just like Wendetii. That's the same post, different angle. And that almost even confirms it for me even more. But hopefully Ricardo Santiago, aka Ricky, will keep us posted and let us know what happens with that plant. Because if it grows out into something else, I'll freak out, but I definitely want to be involved. Let me know. Let me know what's up. That's also one of the things I want to work on if we do get the makerspace going. Something I want to be able to work on is, hopefully seeing if, I know there's not a lot of companies out there that want to fly people out to go to conventions and stuff like that. But there are a lot of companies out there that want people to test their products, and they will send out some free aquariums and things like that. So hopefully I'll be able to do that. If we do get the makerspace, try to get some companies to sponsor, sending out so we could test some of their products. And hopefully I could send some out to you guys too, so you'll be able to test them along with us. Now that especially we have such a good site like the Patreon page where we can actually post pictures and all that kind of stuff and things that are going on. We could even post pictures of our test results, all that kind of stuff, post them up there and keep everybody else in the loop and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's one thing to post in the comments on YouTube, but I mean, realistically, people aren't checking back in with that. You aren't really getting notifications unless it's somebody that's saying something bad about you or something. That's pretty much normally what it is. You'd be out on a video going wow, I really like your fish tanks. That's really nice. And somebody would be on there poo, 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 poo. I hate your face. And you'd be great. Great, I got a YouTube comment. Guys, this is great, and then you're just kind of wasting your time, having to have read that in the first place. You get really sad. Not because of what they said to you, but because you wasted your time. Just a monumental waste of time when you have to go read that nonsense and you realize dude, I'm not going to get this 28 seconds back. Right? Anyhow, Jessica Thiergartner, gosh, I'm getting good at it, says, I have a question. My bristlenose died a while ago, and it's just been the shrimp and the mollies. I don't need to have mollies. I don't need to have molly babies on top of the shrimp since they will be moved October with me, hopefully, but the mollies haven't produced anything. I got the mom from Petco, and surprise, she's pregnant. They appear to be a cross between a balloon molly and a black molly. I have had them since birth and lost the mom months ago. They were born September 18th. I was sure they would be popping out babies since I have 2 males and 4 females. Any thoughts? The shrimp have been mass producing, so I don't think it's my water. pH 6.5, which is kind of soft. That's probably your problem right there. 20 parts per million on nitrates with Easy Green every week. Thanks a bunch. Sorry for the long question. You're probably going to have to harden up the water a little bit. Yeah. Hold on. Tried to load the comments. Let's see what the comments say. You're probably going to have to harden up the water. That's probably your big problem. Let's see. Justin says, sounds like it's possibly, possibly, and this is going out on a limb, but sounds like your bristlenose might not have had enough vegetation or food, but don't hold me to it. But I know plecos in general need good established tank to keep their hunger occupied with lots of food. That actually is true. But yeah, I think the mollies aren't producing most likely because you need to bring your hardness up a little bit, bring your pH up a little bit. Soft water and mollies can be quite difficult. And I think most people know that because mollies are able to go all the way up to full saltwater reef water. You know what I mean? Like full-on reef tank settings. Mollies will go in there and thrive. So real softish kind of rainwater with not a lot of minerals in it, that's probably why they aren't breeding. They could tolerate it, and they'd be cool with it, and it's not that big of a deal, but that's probably why they're not breeding. There's probably no reason for them to trigger breeding if they're in that super soft water like that. That's probably the big deal. You know, everything needs a trigger to start breeding, even humans, guys. That's why mini skirts and lipstick exist. But everyone needs trigger to start breeding, and mollies and guppies, guppies less so, but mollies more so. You know, you're gonna have to add some supplements to the water a little bit. Like I said, they'll survive, but they're probably not triggered to breed. You know, because they're like, yeah, we're just in this environment that maybe it's not the greatest place to be breeding in. So get that water up. But honestly, you know, 6.5 pH with really soft water, you might be more lucky to be breeding like autosynclus and stuff like that. You'll be doing heavy water changes with that really clean water. But breeding autosynclus is no simple task. So don't just jump into that. You know, do some research, do some reading, be super prepared for that if you're going to do that. But just keep breeding. Never mind. Let me start that thought over again. I have super soft water here, and I've had success breeding autosynclus. It will work, but it's very difficult to get them to trigger to breed. That's why my brain was thinking about. That's why I was thinking about breeding triggers, right? You know, so. But yeah, just stick with the mollies. Mollies would be fun, but just harden up the water a little bit. Let's see. Jessica says, yeah, my water's in Grant Pass, Oregon. It's city water and not well like I'm used to. Actually, you know, I much prefer the soft water that I have here. It's much easier to add something to the water, like shrimp salts. You could add like shrimp salts. That's kind of work a lot. That might be a lot easier to add up in hardness. That Wonder Shell actually works great. That's a really easy thing to add to a tank to bring the hardness up a little bit. Or like shrimp salts, something like that would be pretty good. But shrimp salts can get pretty expensive for such a cheap, and this sounds like super rude, but they're pretty cheap fish. So maybe you don't want to be investing a ton of money in breeding a fish that you might not even be able to resell them. What's up with this chair? I got a brand new chair, you guys. Vicky saw all the work I did, and so she bought a new chair for me. And this chair is perfect, except one of the handrests doesn't seem to go as high as the other one, and then it drives me nuts. But other than that, it even does the like it'll go forward and back. But sorry, there's a lot of levers back here on this chair. I don't really know how to use it that well yet. We'll do a chair review later. But no, it doesn't do the PewDiePie, if anybody's wondering that. No. But it gets pretty close. Fish Keeper sends us in. Oh, yeah. Blue Crown Aqua has a sale on now, and this little guy is getting some buddies very soon. Oh, yeah. Appreciate it. Blue Crown Aqua is awesome. That's where I got my pandas. That's where I got my panda. My blue shadow panda shrimps. There we go. I'm going to have to get some more of those someday. But when is that day? I don't know. I've had a baby, and that was a lot. So I don't know if I'm going to get some more pandas. I don't know. Maybe someday. Plant of the week, the Limnophylla sessiflora. Sessilliflora. It's impossible to say the extra I in there. I always say sessiflora. I don't know why they have an extra one in there. It's probably some other plant. But Limnophylla. Limnophylla sessiflora is a hardy, adaptable, and undemanding plant from Southeast Asia and is naturally found in slow-moving black water and clear water habitats with soft, acidic water and low nutrient content. This plant is sometimes called the Asian marshweed or Ambulia. Limnophylla sessiflora is capable of withstanding a wide range of water conditions from the pH range of 5.5 to 8, temperature 71 degrees Fahrenheit all the way up to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's chrome to chrome on the I-5, guys. Watch out for that traffic jam out there. It's chrome to chrome, bumper to bumper. Everybody's stuck with a scowl on their face. Oh, sorry, I got totally off topic there. Sorry. I took a leaf with some beard algae and put it in an electron microscope. The electron microscope is a type of microscope that uses electrons to create an image of the target. It has much higher magnification or resolving power than a normal light-based microscope. These pictures are from the leaves with some algae attached, zoomed in closer and closer and closer, otherwise known as enhance. Enhance. Z49 enhance. I can't make that noise today. Sorry. It's too late in the show. It's too late in the show to be making Blade Runner references, you guys. But Johan also sends in his pictures from the electron microscope, which, congrats, bro. Like, every time Johan posts something, it's always like some awesome fish. Now he's posting, he gets to take his plants in and put them under an electron microscope. I don't even have a regular microscope. It's super weird, man. That's super weird, bro. I appreciate it. Maybe I need to move to the Netherlands. I don't know. Where's Vicky? Vicky, we got to move to the Netherlands. Wherever you are. There's no reason to yell. She can't hear me. I barely heard the baby earlier. Beard algae close up. Wow. That is really cool. As I mentioned, I think I need an electron microscope because this is totally derailing the show because I'm just that interested in staring at it. Dominique Nadeau, who actually sent me an email over the weekend, and I got to respond. I got to respond to your email. Don't worry, I'm gonna. I was on vacation with the family. Oh, this song is the worst. I'm gonna stop singing it. I just made it up, and it's terrible. Very proud of this aquarium. It's the first piece of furniture that I have made. The front panel is held by a magnetic door holder for the kitchen for kitchen cabinets, which is how I do most of my cabinets these days too. My CO2 tank is now standing inside the stand. This 30-gallon currently houses a pair of Apistogramma cacatoides orange flash. I had hoped to see some baby before moving to a different city, but now I'm less hopeful than that it will happen before, which I wouldn't stress out about it. You know, Apistogramma cacatoides live a fairly long life, so if they haven't bred yet, I wouldn't stress out too much. You got plenty of time to get them to breed later. Ooh, somebody's at the door. Who is it? Let me see. Let's see who's at the front door. We have like cameras everywhere now. So I can literally just... Oh, it's FedEx guy. Whatevs. I don't need to help the FedEx guy. He knows what he's doing. He's dropping off the new motherboard for the other computer that blew up a long time ago. That's how long it took me to save up to replace the computer that blew up. That thing blew up in December, and now it is July, and I finally ordered a new processor and a motherboard for it so I could put it back together. So that when Alyssa's here on Friday, she'll have her own computer while she's on the show. It's going to be so cool. So that people can stop leaving comments on our videos that we do together. We do the live stream together. And people are like, I can't believe Alyssa's just on her phone. When they don't even realize that, like, she's literally looking at the chat that people are posting and stuff and being like, can't believe you're on your phone. It's like, yeah, she's on the phone reading what you're writing right now. That's why she's on her phone. She's watching the chat and comments and stuff. Which is ultimately like, that is a really weird situation to even like try and wrap your mind around. But like someone's complaining that they're looking at the phone so that they could look at the comment of the person that's complaining, right? That's weird. I don't know. Either way. Dominique Nadeau, congratulations. I like this tank. But as he has a quick question here, I have 3 hours of car travel to do going to my new apartment. How would you move 3 aquariums and the fishes that are inside those? I don't have access to those mini air pumps because I'm in Canada and shipping from China can take up to a month and a half. Yeah, that's a good point. Now, if you really wanted to do the airstone thing, you can actually buy a power inverter for your car. And it just plugs into the old cigarette lighter. And then you can just plug a regular air pump into that power inverter. So once you plug, you get that power inverter, you can actually just plug your air pump into the cigarette lighter, basically. And so that's an easy way to do it. The USB air pumps probably are the greatest thing ever for moving fish, if that's what you're going to do. But a 3-hour ride is really not that long. And remember, most of these fish came from, overseas, or, like Mexico, where it's probably took 48 hours to ship them to the wholesaler. Then the wholesaler shipped them to your fish store. They've been through a lot of fishing or through a lot of shipping. So if you just pack them up like the fish store does, in a reasonable bag that's tight with a good amount of air in there, 3 hours is not going to be that big of a deal. You get your fish from the store and bring them home. A lot of times it takes way more than 3 hours, and they're good to go. There's plenty of air in the bag and stuff. So not really a big deal. As far as the plants go, you want to just, wrap those up in plastic bags, basically with like a wet paper towel. Keep them in there. 5-gallon buckets for the substrate. Just want to do that. And then wrap up whatever biological filtration that you have going on. It looks like you have a sponge filter right here. So take the sponge filter, put it into a plastic bag. It says it feels like super wasteful with all these plastic bags, but that's realistically what you got to do. And then everything else, just drain it out and load it in your car and move. I almost always move all the tanks first now. Like I'll stage where I'm moving to, get that ready, move the tanks first or last. Like you don't want to try and do it all at the same time. Like you don't want to move a whole bunch of furniture and fish tanks at the same time, or fish tanks and a bunch of furniture. You know what I'm saying? You want to make sure that when you're moving the fish tanks, that's the one thing that you're doing. So whether that happens to land before or after, you know what I'm talking about. You just don't want to be doing it at the same time. Candy Overall says, or use the USB Nano air pump with a battery backup. That's the thing. You can use the USB air pump, but as Dominique was saying, he's up in Canada, and it could take like a really long time to get one shipped out. So, Ollie H actually sent this in on Friday also, so we'll answer that real quick. Says, Mark 1 shrimp trap results in a failure. At least I know how to catch rams now. It's got with rams in there. But this is essentially like a great picture of how to make a shrimp trap. You might just need some more delicious food in there. And I've found more success with not laying it on its side with shrimp. Wait a couple days, don't really feed the tank for a couple days, then add only the food that's inside the trap. Obviously, fish will probably get in there, but, the fish are pretty easy to get out of the thing. As shrimps just aren't that fast when it comes to being trapped in a plastic bottle, so they won't be able to swim out as easily as the fish once you pull that top out. Ollie sends this in, says Mark 2 shrimp trap, also a failure. Snails and pygmy cories. The pygmy cories are in there. Yeah, look at him right there. So he's got that beautiful bristle nose. Oh, bristle nose. But the pygmy cories got in this time. Is there Mark 3? I can't remember if Mark 3 made it. Okay. But either way, you guys can all pop over to the Patreon and check it out if you feel like it at any point in time. These posts are always open, and you can hop on there. You can comment. You can add some pictures of your own. But Mark II failed on the shrimp trap. But here's an overall view of the tank, and I really got to say, I like how well this tank is turning out. Looks really good. I like how it's grown in. I like the kind of naturescape style that this is. It's not a Dutch. It's not this. It's not that. It's not an Iwagumi or anything. So But I like the natural style tanks myself. Those are kind of my favorite, and so this is a good representation of that. And plus, just look how monstrous this bristlenose is. Super red bristlenose, which, as you guys know, have confounded a giant spot in my heart these days. And I love them. And I got all my adolescents and my grandpa ones, and everybody's all growing up and doing real good in my super red bristlenose tank. We also got Cheshire Cat send this in after a couple days after the sadness of the fish dying. It says, I wanted to post a nice photo, but my camera battery is dead, so I use my phone. You used your phone. What's it, iPod 1? It's like an iPhone 1, I think. And since we're at the top, I might as well just go all the way to the end of the Patreon posts. But Cheshire Cat, I'm just giving you a hard time. I hope you know that. But the reflection, I could deal with the bad photography, and I think we all could. But there's this reflection right here that's infuriating because we're supposed to be looking at the shrimp or at the snail, right? Is that what we're doing? Well, either way, I appreciate it, and I appreciate everything you do, and I like this snail a lot. God, those lines lined up perfectly. I like it. Okay. Either way, Brendan sent this in. It says, any knowledge out there about how rust might affect fish? Been dumping old tank water here and just put air pump to reduce mosquitoes and filter for the heck of it. Just curious, if I put fish in here, there's also sand and gravel and plants at the bottom on large unwanted decorative decor I've left in there. Hope to catch a live stream soon. Been busy with work, so I've missed a few. Well, I'm glad you're here. And yeah, rust is not a big issue unless it's just wildly out of control. Like a little bit of rust is not a big deal. But seeing as how this is a big rusty pail, but it doesn't look rusty deep in there. It looks like just at the top where it's all dinged up and stuff. It's probably not a big deal, honestly. Though I would definitely test the water to see what was going on with it. This water lettuce isn't even doing that great outside. So, I would, I'd definitely do some water tests on this to find out what was going on and just double check and see what's happening. All right, guys, we got to the end of the list there on the Patreons. I want to say extra double, triple thanks for everybody to chime in on that. Let's rage over, and I'll play. Oh, I don't know. You know what? I'm going to save the video for later from earlier today. Here's a little glimpse into the world of my 150 while I say thanks to everybody for coming out today. Did everybody hit the like button? Did everybody hit the subscribe button? I'm supposed to say all these things because it's YouTube, right? You better subscribe. You better hit the like button. You better hit the subscribe like button. Who was our peak viewers today? 125. It must be summertime, you guys. But I appreciate all y'all for coming out and squiggling on the like button. And a big thanks to Alexander for becoming a new Patreonizer, man. I'm much appreciated. As I mentioned, I posted some of the art that will be on the channel here. Also, a big shout out to Wayne Kickery for joining up on the old Patreon. Now, wait a minute here. I want to check something. Where did that go? Hold on. We're going to check something here. I thought Wayne was new. Right? I thought Wayne was new. Oh, but Wayne's no longer. Well, Wayne was just a one-time guy. Either way, thank you very much for being that one-time patronizer just for like a minute. I appreciate it. Yeah, anybody, you want to go on to Patreon and just do it for like a day, you can do it. But just remember, if you paid $1, you get the whole month all the way up until the end of the month. So cancel it after that amount of time, you know? So anyhow, Caleb Steen, thank you very much. And let's see, James, who's new to the Patreon, and Bully Breed, who's new to the Patreon. I don't know if I gave you guys a shout out, but shout out to you guys, man. It's like, it's hard. It's not, I don't even think I'd be able to be doing this anymore. Honestly, I probably would have quit if it wasn't for Patreon. You know what I mean? Like, just, it's honest. It's just real honest when you do, like, the breakdown of, like, being able to engage this much with YouTube and you guys and stuff, and just, honestly, like, how much time it takes and all that kind of stuff. Like, if it wasn't for Patreon, I probably wouldn't be able to do it. You know what I mean? I just wouldn't. 54 Punchy is wondering, is that a boose flowering? Actually, that's 2 of them. Yeah, that's 2 booses that are flowering there. Where's our arrow, you guys? Yeah, that's the thing. If there wasn't any patronizers, we wouldn't have an arrow. Oops, that's the wrong thing. Where's the arrow? Oh, that's another Olivia shot. Check that out. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Whoop, 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 whoop. Where's our arrow at? Olivia face. Oh, there's the arrow. Okay. There we go. That's a boost flowering right there, and that's a boost flowering right there. 1, 2. 1, 2. That's earlier today. Maybe I'll go out and take a macro. Maybe I'll take a super close-up macro shot for you guys. Move me up here for this part of the video. It's always good to see what's going on over here where it's a little more colorful. So much. That Limnophylla aromatica that I'm trimming out of there got a little robust on how much I planted in there. You know what I mean? So, had to take some out. Just got a little too much in there. Plus, I'm going to be sending some off to Shelby Ray and Preston for the giveaway boxes. I had to go get. This is such a goofy story. So I'm doing a giveaway. Got a bunch of driftwood, a bunch of samples, a bunch of random stuff that sending out to Preston and Shelby. They won the little giveaway, and I had to go get new boxes. I had to get this. I had to get that. Like a dork. It's been like a month, and I haven't sent them out yet. So they're probably gonna go out on Friday because I got the new box. I got all the dry goods stuff put into the box, fit into the box. Then I went to go get all the plants that I had trimmed, and this was last week. And the tank that I had them on, I had turned off the light, and it had been off for like a really long time, like a week and a half or something like that. So all the plants in there were not happy. So I have to go through and get some new plants for those guys and send them out. But they will be coming. So sorry about that. It's my bad. It really is. Just kind of goofy. Little goofy. Something to do about nothing says, what type of loach would you put in a 40 breeder? Tank sits at 80 degrees, heavily plant load, lots of Malaysian trumpet snails. Hillstream. Might be a little hot for Hillstream loaches, but, you know. I posted that last minute not knowing the Friday stream wasn't happening. I wanted to get it in, hence the photo with my phone. Oh, that makes sense, Cheshire. But, you know, appreciate it. Sorry. I guess there's a lot of people didn't realize that I was going to be on vacation last week. But, hey, you know, I'm back. There's Ken just showed up. He actually came to the donut meetup. I'd love to do another donut meetup this weekend, but I'm shooting a wedding this weekend, so I told you guys this makerspace is very important. I'll do anything to try and get this makerspace going, including weddings. All right, guys, I love you very much. Have a fantastic week. Hopefully I can get an edited video out to you, but no guarantees.